This video is for practice 2B, work with basic modifying tools. We are going to start with the simple building-1.rvt file from our book file. I'm going to click open and then I'm going to navigate to the book files. I'm going to open simple building 1 and select open. This building should look similar to the exercise you were just working on. So our first step is to trim out this arch that's at the top of the circle. It says select the top part and then click delete from up here. You can also hit delete on your keyboard. The walls that cross the circle are automatically cleaned up. Next, we're going to select the vertical interior wall, door, and window tag. So we're going to select, I'm going to zoom in because it's easier to select stuff when I zoom in. So the vertical wall, I'm going to hold down Control and select the wall, the door, and the tag. After I select them, I'm going to take my hand off the Control button. And then in the I'm going to zoom out, and then in the Modify panel, I'm going to select Copy. On the Options bar, remember the Options bar is the green bar that pops up whenever you open another command. I'm going to select Constrain. Constrain is going to make it so I can only copy these in a certain direction. It won't let me copy them at an angle. And I'm going to check Multiple. Now I'm going to select the start point. So it says select the start point should be this endpoint over here. So I'm going to click here, and then the endpoint should be this point on the wall over here. So again, remember you can zoom in and out by scrolling with your mouse wheel. I select that. And then I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to keep going across and selecting the endpoints until I create, it looks like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 walls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 walls. Then I'm going to select Modify to get out of the command. So notice that the door tags have now changed. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is 5. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is zoom in over here in the room to the far right. Okay. I'm going to select door number 5 and the associated door tag. So remember you hold down Control to select more than one thing in Revit. So hold Control, click the door, keep holding Control, and click on the tag. Now it says in the Modify panel, select the Mirror Pick Axis. So that's going to be this one, Mirror Pick Axis tool, and it shows you an image of that tool in your book, which is nice. So click that, make sure Copy is selected. We're going to select the vertical wall between the rooms, and then when I do that, it's going to place a door on the other side of that wall, just mirrored in the same position. I'm going to click on Modify or click an empty space to release that command. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some reference lines to place a component. So we're going to be working with this circular area down here. Remember, I'm just zooming in and out with my mouse wheel, and then I'm panning by holding my mouse wheel down to pan across the page. That's how I keep getting to different parts of my drawing. So let's draw 2 vertical reference planes. We're going to go to the Architecture tab. So it says come up here to the Architecture tab, and in the Work Plane panel, over here, Work Plane, we're going to click Reference Plane. We're going to draw 2 reference planes as shown in the figure. The vertical one starts at the midpoint of the wall. So we're going to come over, and remember that midpoint is going to be marked by the triangle. You can see that it even says midpoint. So I'm going to click there at the midpoint. Oops, I kind of grabbed it a little bit too far. And then I'm going to pull that line down to approximately here. And then I'm going to hit Escape just once because I want to stay in the command. See, I'm still in the command because the Options bar for that command is still up. Now I'm going to draw another one, a horizontal, and I'm going to place it using the temporary dimension shown. So I'm just going to click over here to place the horizontal. And then I'm going to use these temporary dimensions. And I want this temporary dimension to be 20 feet, so I'm going to type enter, and the other one should be 15. And I actually want to see those dimensions on your assignment, so I clicked to make those dimensions viewable. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to, in the Architecture tab, we're going to go to the Build panel. So this is the Build panel. We're going to select Component. And what pops up is Desk. So we have a desk that's 60 by 30, and this is the desk we want to use. I'm going to come over towards this line, and if I hit the space bar, it's going to rotate the desk. So I want to rotate the desk vertically, just like this, and I want the desk to be placed at the intersection of these two reference lines. Once it's there, I'm going to zoom in to make sure it's there. I can click, and now I've placed the desk. Then we'll click Modify to get out of that command. Now I'm going to click on the desk, and I'm going to use the Move toolbar to move the center of the desk over the vertical reference line. So I'm going to click Move, select the midpoint, okay, or the midpoint up here, and then I'm going to move it over and select the line right here. So it now moves that desk so it's in the middle of that reference line. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to select the desk, and then in the Modify panel, we're going to click on Array. In the Options bar, we're clicking a radial array. So a radial means that we're making a circular pattern, so radial. And you can see it kind of looks like a speedometer up here. We want to clear the group and associate. So if we did that, it would make everything into one group. We don't want that. We're going to set the number field to 15 and set the move field to second. So move to second. Now we're going to drag the center of rotation. So this is the center of rotation to the midpoint of the wall. So we're going to put it there. We're going to return to the Options bar, and we're going to type in the angle of 360. And then we're going to press Enter. So when I do that, it puts desks all around this circle, so 360 degrees. We're going to delete all the desks that are outside of the room. So you can hold down Control and select the desks. And once you have all those ones selected that are outside the room, hit Delete. So we just want to keep these desks. We're going to zoom out to display the entire view. So the next thing we're going to do is place some columns in appropriate locations. So down here we already have, this is a structural column, it's a W-shaped column, and then we have a rectangular column above it. We're going to select the square architectural column, which is this one, and we're going to drag it over so it lines up with the wall. So we want this to be lined up with the wall. I'm going to drag it. You'll see those little blue lines indicate that it's aligned with the wall. So I want to align, it looks like the center line. And then it looks like I want the temporary dimensions here to read 8 feet. And now again, I want you to show the dimensions, so I'm going to click on this to make that a permanent dimension. So this dimension is reading from the center line of the wall to the center line of the object, 8 feet, and that's correct. Now we're going to place the structural column at the center of the architectural column. So I'm going to click on the structural column, and I'm just going to drag it over here until it reaches the midpoint. Okay. And now we're going to rotate and array the columns. Okay. We're going to select both these columns, so I'm just going to draw a little window over them. You can also hold down Control to select them. And then I'm going to, in the Modify panel, click Rotate. And then how I like to rotate is I'm going to point this straight up in the air first, and then I'm going to move it at array towards the right, until it reads to a 45-degree angle. I can also type 45 in here, and then I'll rotate to 45. If you get an error like this, the references with the highlighted dimensions are no longer parallel, you can say remove reference. You would have taken a screenshot of that 8 foot anyway. Okay, with the 2 columns still selected, we're now going to array them. So we're going to click on Array. And remember, we just worked with Radial Array, which is in a circle. Now we want Linear Array because we want to put these in a line. So I'm going to select Linear, clear Group and Associate, so this box should be unchecked. Set the number to 10, and set Move to Last. So Move to Last, how you use this, you are going to click on the start point. So you're going to click the midpoint of these columns right here. And then what it does is you click on an endpoint. So the endpoint is going to be the center line over here. And then it's going to fill in all the columns in between so that there ends up being 10 in between. We're going to zoom out, so I'm going to double click on my mouse wheel to display the entire building. Lastly, I'm going to put it in 3D view so that you can see the desks and you can see the columns that we just created, and that will be your final screen capture.